Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn and I am joined today by my best good buddy. He's got a beard, he has a beanie, he looks cozy, the one and only Nick Miller. Nick, how are you, my friend?
Dude, I'm doing so good. I am cozy. You know, for those of you that don't know, my office is in the basement. And it's always cold down here, even when we have the heater on and it's cold outside. And so typically when I come down here, I put on a beanie and a sweatshirt, even in the summertime. It's just chilly down here. So yeah, I'm cozy. You'd know that if you're watching this on YouTube. I don't know if you are, but if you're not, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel.
It's the most passive way to ask people
YouTube.com/How to Film Weddings.
Don't have to.
Yeah.
Can.
But anyways, I'm good. I am cozy. For those of you that are listening to this in the future, we are actually doing something fun right now. It is, as we're recording this, it is course launch week. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're giving a peek to everyone that's interested, and we're actually streaming this live. And so we have a lot of people in the chat and watching us record this little behind the scenes kind of stuff. This is also a perk that our HTFW Plus members get, where once a month they will get to watch us record a podcast if they are interested in that. So anyway, all that to say, John, I'm doing really good. How are you?
That's good. Okay, I got to be honest. Right before recording this, something
this is so funny, guys. This is crazy.
The crap out of me. I posted it in my stories today, but I went outside because my pool, it's been cold, so something like froze up in a motor. It was making a noise. No big deal. Called my pool guy. Anyway, I went out there to go turn the power back on, and inside of my pool was a dead possum. A dead possum in my pool. It scared. Yes.
The question that I have that I asked in our group chat, it's a possum. So are you sure it was dead? I mean, are you sure?
He was just floating in circles. He was gone. He was a goner, and I picked him up and I had to take him out into the woods behind my house. It was Anyway, so that kind of freaked me out. And then my wife just walked by a little bit ago and I was like, oh, she just scared me for no reason. I'm a little jumpy. So if you see me jumping or anything, but anyway, the pool guy's coming here to shock the pool. Anyway, that's what's happened to me today. But other than that, it's been great. I went to lunch with my wife today, just had a great little afternoon. Everything was going well to the case of the possum. But that was not awesome. See the rhyme? You see what I did there? Awesome.
It was not an awesome possum.
No, it was a non-awesome possum. But other than that, things have been going great. You did say it is course launch week. We've had tons of people joining, lots of new interaction in the Facebook group. We're coming on to the Thanksgiving, Christmas season. It's my favorite time of the year. So many good things going on. But Nick, it's almost 2023, which is kind of mind-blowing.
It is.
That's 23 years into this millennium. It's nutso. 2023 will be here very shortly. And we have been hearing in our Facebook group again and again, I'm low on bookings in 2023. And there's inflation in the States. There's inflation across the globe. There's lots of uncertainty with things. There's wars. There's politics. There's division. There's all kinds of stuff. And it's are people going to spend money? Or, what's wrong with me and my business? And so Nick and I just wanted to do an episode called How to Book More Weddings in 2023. We're going to look at some things to maybe get yourself ready for 2023, a little checklist, if you will, of things to maybe be thinking about as we're moving into 2023. Because, Nick, running a wedding video business is not a short-term game kind of business. It is the people that can do this for the long haul and have a long mindset and do the right things over time. If they have that crock pot over the microwave method, those are the ones that are going to see success. And I'm now going into the middle of my, halfway through my 16th year. You're halfway through your 10th year, and you don't just do that by accident, and you don't do that in a thriving manner by accident. What do you want to add?
Yeah. So, we need to be intentional and we need to be thinking long-term about all this stuff. It's whenever you get started, you just want to do everything at once. And so you slap things together and you're kind of Frankensteining your work, right? Where you pull this from over here and you pull this from over here and you're not really streamlined stuff and you don't know what's going on. Or a couple of years in, you're looking at how you do your emails or how you do your consultation calls. And you're like, well, I'm pulling this from here and this from here. And it's unorganized. It's not efficient, all that stuff. So today we want to kind of talk you through some of those things. stuff that you should be thinking about to help you hopefully book more weddings as we come into the new year. Now, I know that a lot of us know that we're getting ready to be upon engagement season. It's something like over 50% of engagements in the year happen between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. So it's just a couple of months, and we have like 50% of engagements happen during that time. And so you might be sitting here, hey, you're listening to this in mid to end of November, and you're like, oh no, I've already missed it. I'm too late. Well, I will say that a majority of my engagement season inquiries actually happen the first 2 or 3 weeks of January. That's always been kind of our track record and how we've been. And so as you're listening to this at the end of November, maybe the beginning of December, you still have a couple of weeks. You still have a few weeks to really kind of think about some of these things and maybe retool how you are going about your business and how you are going about things so that you can book more in this year, so that you can, get more of these inquiries, because they're going to come in. I mean, traditionally, that's what they happen, right, for like everyone across the board. So we're just going to talk about what you can be doing. So, John, what do you have to add about doing in 23? What you can do?
If you think about it, a lot of people are not even engaged yet that are going to be getting married next year, and the way it works a lot of the times, some people have a year or more engagement, but a lot of people get engaged over the holidays and maybe even get married that summer or the following summer or 2023 summer, 2023 fall, something like that. And so they don't know that you exist yet, some of them. And you need to really be aware of your brand and how it presents itself for the first impression.
Absolutely.
The year happens, we get things updated on our site earlier in the year, or maybe you've been thinking, I need to get those photos updated of me with that couple on my website, or I need to finish that branding thing, or I need to put that awesome video I filmed from Guatemala on my homepage, which I just did. If you're not, this is the time, a lot of people start to really chill out at this time and say, I'll get to that later. And we can't tell you enough how important it is to say, one of the first thing we want to talk about is updating your website and getting it fresh with the best videos, updated photos, updated copy. So if you're listening to this, go pull up your calendar and say, on this day, I'm going to spend the whole day, pick a day and update your website. Just go through it. Maybe you make a couple of new highlights for it. Maybe you find some photos of you with the couples from this last year, whatever it is. Maybe you schedule a quick photo shoot with a photographer. Really think through how you can update your website. And Nick, what kinds of things do you think of whenever I'm talking about updating website on this subject? I mean, is there anything that you're thinking about with Wild Oak Films that you're wanting to do?
Yeah.
Or in general?
So, you mentioned quite a few things. And actually, I recorded an episode with Austin, who does our graphics and our website for How to Film Weddings. He runs the creative with his wife, Jessica, in Iowa. And we actually did an episode titled Getting Ready for Engagement Season. And it just talked about getting your website ready and what to think about. So it was a couple episodes ago. I'm not sure the exact number, but if you want to go back and check out that one for a little bit more detailed breakdown of things that you can do. Actually, here we just have finished working with Sam's team at ID Action, doing the copy for our website. So we're in the process over the next couple of months or so, in the next month or so, to turn that over to our website designer and let them go in and update all of the copy on our website. So that's something that you should maybe consider. If you want a professional copywriter, though, it's probably going to take you a little bit of time to do that, maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months to get that done. So just keep that in mind. But we've already done that work, and all we need to do is update our website with that information. So that's something to think about. Now would be a great time. you've filmed all these weddings in this year. I'm sure that you've got some great content, and I'm sure it lives on your Instagram or your YouTube or your Vimeo channel, but does it live on your website? Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I would consider is sit down and start looking at the work that I'm putting on my website, and does this need to be refreshed? Does this need to be updated? I would do that. A new photo, an updated photo of you, take a look at that. Maybe you got some done earlier this year, but I know that there are a lot of people that maybe have been going for a couple years and they never bothered putting a picture of themselves on their page because they were, again, like Frankensteining everything and doing it all themselves and trying to get going, and they just never bothered putting a photo of themselves. So we would recommend putting a photo of yourself on your website. Those are the main things that I'm thinking about. Again, as we're talking about this, how to book more, how you present yourself really matters. And so I would go through my website, I would go through my Instagram or YouTube or Facebook page or any of that stuff and think about the things, how am I presenting myself to the people that are reaching out to me? And that's not just what the photo looks like, right? It's the videos that you're posting, the coloring that you're posting in your videos, the look of your Instagram feed, the types of stuff things that you're sharing on your Insta stories or your TikTok or any of that. All of that rolls into your presentation and why it really matters. So I feel like I was just kind of long-winded there, but those are some things that I would be thinking about, that I am thinking about for Wild Oak Films, but also if I were out there listening, that I would be thinking about.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, like updating your website, getting it just kind of fresh, that hero banner, whatever that first thing people see, is that work from this year that you're proud of? Is it, your best shots from the last few years? Just updating those things, getting that fresh, making sure that the copy feels like you know a little bit more of who you want to serve after another year. So maybe really identifying the things about the couples you loved the most this last year and saying, I loved doing these kinds of weddings. Does my website talk to that kind of person? Does my website feel like corporate jargon, or does it feel like a friend talking to another friend? You're talking about your business. And, one of the things, and I'll talk about this here in a second, is really personally showing up on your website. We do a lot of reviews where you can find one photo of the filmmaker and they're looking away from the camera. And it's like, where are you? I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. I don't know. So show up, really think through your about page, because that's where people are going after they go to your homepage and see work that they like. They say, do I like this person? Could I see them at my wedding? So show them what you look like at weddings. Tell them what you're going to be like at weddings. Show them what you're like in a real day, those kinds of things. I want to talk about that more in a second, but before doing that, I had a thought while you were talking, Nick, about just reaching out to your frienders at this point of the year, the friends that are vendors. I'm thinking about your photographer friends. I'm thinking about your wedding planner friends. For me, maybe a couple of the florists or cake makers, and just kind of reaching out and saying, hey, it'd be great to catch up before next year. It'd be great to just connect before next year, especially the photographers and planners, so that you can say, just so you know, like I did this last year where I said, hey, just so you know, I'm taking on less weddings. I sent this kind of same message, but personalized to each of the planners I really liked working with. So I'm taking on a little bit less. Our starting price is going to be about this. If you have couples that fit this bill, if they want true to color films, if they want a more fine art vibe, but mainly nostalgic, and they're doing an experience, they're doing a destination. These are the kinds of couples that I'm really trying to serve. I'm really trying to serve couples that want home footage in their films, that really look at this as an heirloom. If they're just somebody that just wants video and if they don't really care if it's not near the top of their list, I'm probably not the right fit for them. But having a few conversations, I had 5 or 6 conversations with some of the planners in town. And if you have an updated pricing guide for the next year, it's okay to send that to the planners to say, here's what I'm looking at, here's the packages I'm offering. So reaching out to your frienders, and then some of the photographer friends, reaching out and saying, hey, I'm putting everything together for next year. I'd love to work with you again. Or I'd love to be working with you. Here's some of the things I'm looking for. So if you have a couple that, fits this bill, let me know and I'll do the same for you. What types of couples are you looking for? And trying to really reach out to those frienders and get to we're recording this episode, like how to book more weddings in 2023. Some of these little things could help you be the distinguishing difference in booking. Getting people's eyeballs on your site is great, but if it's not updated and you feel like you don't know who that person is, you might just fall off into the sea of the internet and kind of be vanilla and boring. So thinking about that. Yes, Nick.
Earlier this year, I think it was earlier this year, maybe it was last year, we were talking and I had a couple that was reach out to me. I was booked. I was going to send them your way. And you were like, do not send them to my website. It was your old John Bunn Films one, or your Redeem Productions. You do not send them to my website. Send them to my Instagram. Hook me up in an email. Do not send them to my website because you were like, I'm rebranding. It looks bad. I don't. Okay. If you're not taking this presentation stuff as seriously as maybe you should, and you're not considering your website and considering these things, you might have planners that love to work with you, but by them referring you, it makes them look bad because your website, your whatever is not up to snuff. And so this is why we're saying a presentation. It is so much more than having a quality film that matters in getting people to hire you. Okay, so that's why we're talking about presenting yourself and making your website look really nice, and having your copy and all these things look really stellar. Because I would hate to be in the position where someone reaches out to me, they're like, "Hey, can you pass my name along, to so and so?" But I check out their website, I check out their work, and it's like I can't do it because by me passing your name along, I'm attaching myself to you in a sense, and it makes me look bad because you're not there yet. So, John, we've been going for a little bit on this stuff, and I think that we're going to go take a quick break. And whenever we come back, we're going to talk about some things that you should be considering, thinking about to up your presentation, to make yourself look better whenever you are communicating with both your frienders, I like that word, and your potential couples. So we'll be right back.
Nick and I have to tell you about one of our favorite places to upload our wedding films, and that is Love Stories TV. Love Stories TV is one of the best free resources for us wedding filmmakers. The best part is they are bringing the couples to us. All we have to do is upload our films and we are good to go. Upload unlimited wedding films to your completely free business page. Setup is easy and your films can be live in just minutes. Now is the perfect time to start uploading to Love Stories TV. So head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to check out all of the details and see how Love Stories TV is giving away $10,000 in cash to wedding filmmakers just like you. That's howtofilmweddings.com/lovestoriestv to start uploading and connecting with the right couples today.
Hi, it's Michael from Wedditor. We want to thank everyone for the incredible support we've received since sponsoring How to Film Weddings. Yes, we've had some growing pains, but we've had far more wins. And we're doing something that's never been done. We're a remote team of over 50 editors in 10 countries. I often joke that we're as much a logistics company as we are a creative company. Right now, demand is off the charts. And we don't just say yes to everyone and scramble to figure it out. That's why we're asking you to help us help more of you. In short, we're looking for more talented wedditors, part-time or full-time, work from where you want, when you want, as long as you hit deadlines and deliver quality. It's a chance to get paid while growing as an editor. Our project managers work with you, explaining why something feels right or doesn't, because there's always a reason. If you're interested, we'd love to hear from you. Go to wedditor.com/editor and fill out our form.
Well, welcome back from break. We are here today and we are talking about booking more in 2023 and some things that you should be talking about. We started this conversation about your presentation and why it matters. And it's not just the photos that you have or what you wear on a wedding day. It's so much more than that. It's the look of your website. It's the feel of it. It's the color palette that you decide to use. It's how you are communicating with your clients. And so, John, what do you have to say about this idea as we're talking about presenting and being more than just, I just keep on coming back to what you wear on a wedding day, being more than that? Like what things do you have to add, or where do you want to start this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about booking more weddings in 2023, presentation, or as Nick says, presentation, whichever way you say it is fine, but presentation matters. And I'm sitting here thinking just about a lot of times I would be in so much backlog that I couldn't think about that kind of stuff, where I had that one film that I knew if it was ready, or if at least there were some shots of it out there, that it would make my brand look better. This is the time of the year where maybe you carve out an evening, or maybe you carve out some extra time and you say, I did this killer wedding that's like 5 in backlog. I want to put together like a few clips from that to show on my website, or I want to update. Like, you can get outside of just the order of all your edits. What is going to help you be the most presentable for the busy part of the year? January, February for me, maybe it's different in your area, but as you're getting more and more inquiries, are they going to be more drawn to you if there's more imagery of you on your website? Is there copy on the website that really talks to them? And then the other side of it, like we mentioned, your relationships with video and photo, or with photo and planners is really, really important, and just being top of mind. Because if you just kind of think about a newly engaged couple, they get engaged, they're going to celebrate over the holidays with their family. And that's why in January, they usually are like, all right, we got to get on this if we're going to get married this fall. We got to get on this. And there's this urgency where nobody needs the wedding vendors, and then everyone's trying to book them. So knowing how many weddings you want to book, setting boundaries on when the weddings are, like when you're going to take time off. This is whenever you're getting these things ready so that you're not in a huge backlog. The thing I'm thinking about too is just like looking at your numbers, looking at your prices, looking at your presentation. Like, a lot of us suck when it comes to presenting our prices, our contact page, showing up on our website. The presentation matters. We do a lot of mentor sessions where the homepage is killer, the about page is killer, the films, the blog, and then it gets to the contact page, and it's like a black and white form that has 40 things for people to enter their information. There's no experience. What does your contact form look like? What does that feel like to people? Does that make it easy for them to want to reach out to you? Do they have to fill in a novel 10 different times to reach out to you? Like, really looking through those things and saying, I don't need to know this at the very beginning. I'm not going to put that in the question. I don't really need to know all these details. This is what I need to know. I want more inquiries. Should I have my pricing right next to it? Should I not have my pricing? These are the kinds of things you really need to be thinking about. So we're going to get into talking about all those things. Nick, what do you want to add when it comes to these topics?
Yeah, as John was talking about with the website reviews and stuff that we do and doing critiques and things, it's like people spend a lot of energy making their films look great, or they spend a lot of energy, making sure that their faces are all over the website, or something, which is actually very few. Like, there are a lot of people that we look at your website and you are nowhere to be found on it, or it's one picture that's kind of hard to find. Okay. But I think one of the things that John and I see a lot is maybe your website looks nice, but it's almost like your contact form is a different web page altogether, where everything's really nice and everything's really cohesive. But then that contact form, which is, probably step 2 or 3 in the order of them, figuring out who you are and if they want to reach out, it's just a white page with a lot of text on there and not much that makes it stand out. So think about your contact form and figure out ways, or that contact page, where they can see you and figure out a little bit about you and a little bit about what you're about, or, something that is a little personal on that page, so that as they reach out, that presentation can start. That was the one thing that I was thinking about.
That was abrupt. That was an abrupt stop. So thinking about this though, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if you're updating your contacts, if you will, you're reaching out to the planners, you're reaching out to the photographers, you're thinking about, okay, it's the end of 22. I did this many weddings. I don't want to do that anymore. I need to make this much money. So here's what my prices need to be. Here was my most booked package. Here, like this is going to help you to kind of know who you're aiming at. And the more clear I got with that, the easier it was for me to say no to people, because it's about to get crazy. And if you're just out of money and you're money hungry and you're taking anything and everything you can get, this time next year, you're going to be backlogged again. You're going to be burned out and you're going to want to quit. And our goal is to help you have a long, sustainable business. And so this is the time to be ready to book these weddings. You need to be thinking about these things. Like I was saying, if a couple gets engaged over Thanksgiving or Christmas and they start getting excited about their wedding, and in January they start reaching out, the first people they usually are going to reach out to in my neck of the woods, and like my experience is they're reaching out to planners and venues and photographers. Like that's usually who they have booked before me. Yep. Sometimes they're I'm booked before the photographer a lot more now that I'm charging more, but for the most part, video is going to come after photo. And so if it might be late January, it might be February by the time they are getting there and saying, hey, we need video. What are they going to do whenever they get to your landing page, your website, your social media? What are they going to see? Is that going to captivate them? Is that going to get them excited to find out about you? So they're going to go to your homepage. They're going to see things. They're going to be like, who is this person? They click the about page and they're like, oh, I really relate to this person. This is my kind of people. They go to the contact page, just a black and white form. That doesn't work. It needs to be an experience. It needs to be photos of you with couples. It needs to be whatever. Let's do this. A very cool vibe so they want to reach out to you. And then, Nick, let's say they do reach out to you. What should we be thinking about? What should we be thinking about updating, getting ready so that we make it really easy for couples to know whether or not we're the right fit? And how can we present this in a way that is digestible and not overloading?
Yeah. So I'll just walk through what it is that I do whenever I get an inquiry, and to try and maybe this will help, spark some people's interest or, get them thinking. So whenever a couple reaches out, if we're available, I will respond to their email as soon as I can. Now, this is going to be different for every business, every person. Some people are like, I only will respond to emails during this time and this time, which is totally fine. Some people have autoresponders that says, we'll get back to you in 24 hours or something like that, which, I don't care for those emails. I think that it's just kind of white noise, truthfully. Most people are like, okay, whatever, they kind of forget about that. But my goal is to respond to them as fast as possible. A friender in town said whenever he got married a few years ago, because he knew all of the photographers and he had a tough choice. He's like, man, there's like 4 different people that I would like to use. He emailed all of them and he based solely who he would hire on who got back to him the fastest. That was it. And so my recommendation is to respond as fast as you can. I also usually follow up with a text just saying, hey, I sent over some more information. I'm excited to connect with you, that sort of thing. And then in that email, I'm giving basic information. I'm not sharing my prices with them in my full price sheet, because I don't want to overwhelm them. I don't want them to, make a decision without me kind of guiding through and kind of talking through them a little bit. But I do say, if we're available, and I say a base price, what our collections start at, so they have at least some ballpark, some reference, and then I have a link where they can set up a Zoom call on their own time, what works best for them. There are people that like, maybe they don't want to do a Zoom call. Maybe they just want the pricing. Maybe they just want to go ahead and jump and make all those decisions, and that's fine. But I have decided that this is an important process, an important part of how I like to communicate and how I like to do our process. And so I am asking them to hop on a Zoom call with me. And during that time, that's whenever I will get to know them a little bit more and start presenting stuff with them. I don't want to give them too much so that they get overloaded and, this is just too much, because they're already, what is it statistically that for every vendor that a client reaches out to, they're actually emailing what is it? Is it like 5 to 7 of each category or something like that?
That's what you have said. Yes.
Maybe I made that
And
up.
I believe
it sounds good. It sounds good.
Sounds good. No, I
they're
believe
reaching out to lots, so you need to be sure you're standing out a little bit. This is where it's nice to have in your email response a photo of yourself, so that they can kind of see that person that they are emailing with and connecting with a little bit, and then make it easy for them. We have it through our Honeybook, but have something like Calendly or Honeybook or something that can be an auto scheduler for setting up a call, whether it's Zoom or phone or whatever, and it makes it easy for them to do that rather than sending 3 or 4 emails back and forth. Well, I'm available this time and this time and this time, and then by the time you get a phone call set up, they've moved on because it was too difficult to do that. So, what did I miss? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, how am I going into 2023? How am I going to book more weddings? And it's not just like, let's start running ads. Let's run around like our hair's on fire. It is making sure the things are in place. The relationships are good. The branding is good. The presentation is good. As soon as that couple reaches out, Nick, you said you have a way that you do it. I think that's really great. I have an auto email that goes out that just basically says like, hey, thanks for reaching out. It does not feel like an auto email. I just wanted to confirm the day and the venue. And if you're working with a planner, do you mind just responding to this email and letting me know that I have them correct? And then we'll set up a call, just kind of like getting that in touch with them, making it easy with an auto scheduler, of course. But that's the progression of like, okay, they are working their way towards reaching out to you. Are you making it an easy way for them to get in touch with you? And then we get into some of these consultations and these discovery calls. Does your presentation on screen look good? Are you dimly lit? Do you have, like if you're doing a consultation in person, that's great, or on the phone, that's great. We have found that the Zoom calls are actually very beneficial for us because if you have an actual, not necessarily a slide deck or presentation that you walk them through, but if you have films you can show them, if they bring up a specific moment, you can say, this is the way I filmed this, like you can show them visually what's going on. And one of the things that I really want you to leave this episode with, and I can't get into it too deep just because we could spend 4 hours on this though, is not trying to sell everything all at once. We get so excited. We're like just a kid in a candy store whenever someone's reached out and you want to do their wedding and you think it could be the wedding of the lifetime for you. You're willing to give them anything and everything so they'll say yes. You're trying to tell them all the things you can do. And actually for people that are wanting to charge more than $5,000 for a wedding film, or to pay more than that, for a wedding film, it's kind of a turnoff to them. They want confidence. And so are you confident in your brand? Are you confident in knowing who it is you want to serve? We could spend an hour on that. Take time and say, what are the key components of weddings that I love? And what are the key components that I hate? The kinds of people that I love, the kinds of people I hate working with, and focus on talking to them, taking care of them, being very confident, saying, I don't think I'm the right fit for you because of these things, or I think I'm the right fit for you because of these things. So like being confident sells weddings. That's going to help you book more weddings in 2023. And you can't be really confident unless you know who you are wanting to serve and then how many weddings and the price that you want to charge. So this is also a great time to take a few minutes and look at all your bills and say, what is the least amount that I need to make to break even for this year? Do I need to make $4,000, $6,000, $2,000, whatever a month? That is the baseline after taxes that I need to bring in. If that's the case, and if I want to shoot between 20 and 25 weddings or 15 and 20, whatever that number is, if you know what you need to make and how many you want to shoot, you will know roughly how much you need to make per wedding. So you can start to get really confident and say, I'm only taking, like right now, I have 2 weddings booked of 5. I want to book 5 weddings. I've got 2 more that are very interested, so I might be getting up to almost 80% booked here in the next month. But my starting rates as of today are $15,000, where both the first 2 that have booked me have paid over $20,000. And that's not a flex, even though I love flexing. But it's helped me to say I want 5 weddings and I need to make $100,000, $85,000 to $100,000. I have other income, but like that's kind of the range I want for those 5 weddings. Does my work back that up? Does my website back that up? Does my branding back that up? Does my relationship Rolodex back that up? I'm thinking through all these things, and then I can put together confident prices for 2023. I then can go look and say, what was my most popular booked package last year? What was my average booking? What was all? You can start to really get into these things and say, this is what my collections need to look like for 2023. And Nick, I just talked a lot, but presentation when it comes to what you're offering, now that we've got that kind of figured out, who we want to serve, how can we present these packages, these collections in a way that isn't overwhelming, that helps guide people, because that's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm. How does it help us guide them into booking us for 2023? Because that's what we want.
Yeah. I think that we need to sit down and consider how we are sharing our pricing information. And are you just, is it kind of like a Google Doc or a Word doc or something like that? And you're like, well, this is what it is, and it's just pricing listed out. I would caution you not to do something like that just lists out specifically your pricing and maybe has a photo of a couple or a photo of you or something like that. Okay, we highly recommend doing some sort of pricing guide, or even a step up from that would be like a custom web page on your website where it goes in and you can go in and kind of change some stuff based on what you talk about with a couple. And you can do that with the pricing guide as well. But the idea of the pricing guide would be to set it up that you are a professional and that you know what you are talking about and you are the one that they should be looking to. So with the pricing guide, and we actually have some for sale in our shop at howtofilmweddings.com/store. You can take those, and it's laid out in a way where it sets you up as, this is who I am. I've been doing this for a long time. This is what I believe in. This is, that sort of stuff. And then it kind of goes in and shares some core values about your business and what you are like on a wedding day and getting into that stuff. Then it goes in and it has pages where you can share your specific prices. One collection, if you have 3 collections, it would take up 3 pages. So on each one, and he just kind of shares information and then goes in and it says, here's some next steps, or here are some things that I promise will happen to you whenever you book with us. And it's kind of guiding them and setting up an expectation. Now, one of the things that's really cool about sending a customized PDF pricing page or a customized page on your website is this is now separating you from other people that you are, competing against for the job, right? Because if someone else is just sending a stock brochure from a CRM or I just typed this up on a Word document and I just threw a picture on it and, send it, and it's just a lot of it was a white page with black text versus a 8 to 9, 10 page PDF with pictures and text, and it's more immersive. Like, which one is going to stand out? And maybe the PDF one is a little bit more expensive, but that speaks to your client. Oh, this person is more expensive, but look at the attention to detail. Look at how far and above they went. We this last week, and this is crazy to me, we sent out a $22,000 quote, and one of the things that the bride came back and she said was, whenever she saw our pricing page, was, wow. I'm not surprised, but your attention to detail, I feel like, we got to know you a little bit. I feel like, we know what to expect when it comes to our wedding day and also what our wedding film is going to be about based on what you shared. Thank you so much. This was incredible. And it really stood out to her because we did that. And that's one of those presentation things, especially as you start to charge more, that they matter. Maybe when you're charging, $2,000 or less, having a really fancy pricing guide doesn't matter as much. But whenever you start to creep up in price, and if you're just doing, here's a white piece of paper with my pricing printed on it, like that's not as impressive to people. Think about your life whenever you go to fancier places and how they present the stuff that you can buy from them. You buy something from Apple, and the packaging is the best packaging that I've ever seen in the world because they know they're expensive, and so they have to put it in something that goes along with that. So as you're talking about pricing and you're presenting those prices, have them be in a way that draws people in and that makes them say, wow, this is incredible. Actually, whenever a couple years ago, when we flipped over to these customized pricing PDFs, and I would send those out, I think I went like 7 for 7 or 8 for 8 in a row booking couples that after they saw it, and I was, at least I was in the $45,000 to $6,000 range at that point, so pretty not cheap, right? And so anyways, your presentation really matters whenever it comes to how you are sharing your pricing to your clients.
Yes. And there's a million other things we can get into. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the mindset that you have toward your clients as not people you can sell stuff to, but people that you can guide to giving them an heirloom or an experience that they can't get anywhere else. After reading Donald Miller's Story Brand, the book, it changed my perspective. It kind of put into words a lot of the successful things that I was doing. If you haven't read that book, I strongly suggest it. But instead of looking at people as somebody you can sell something to, how can you guide people once they get to a consultation with you or get to your website in helping them have the best wedding day? You are not the hero of the story. You are the guide. They are the hero of the story, and how can you guide them? Does your website guide them and make it easy for them to see if you're the right fit and not waste any of their time? It's okay if your website detracts people from wanting to be working with you. You do not have to be vanilla. You can present something that is very in their face. You can use profanity if you want to. You can say, I only work with these kinds of couples. I'm focused on destinations or elopements, or like you can guide them if they get to your site and say, oh, nope, that's not for me. Your color profile of what you use on your cameras can be dark and moody and vibey and that's awesome. If a couple comes to your site and sees that and they don't want to book you, great. You want to stay true to who you want to serve and how you can guide them all the way through with something like a pricing PDF that guides them through what you can offer. It's not overwhelming. It's taking them step by step on a guide, as a guide. Think of any of the places that you've been, maybe with a tour guide, or if they just say, here, there's this city, go check it out, as opposed to like, this is this stop, this is the next stop, this is the next stop, this is the history behind this, like guiding them throughout this whole process. If you're doing that with your inquiries, you're doing that with your consultations, you're guiding them through the booking process with you, showing them exactly what they need to do, all while being very confident in knowing who you want to serve and why you want to serve them, your bookings are going to go up in 2023. There's a lot of other things that can happen. And luckily we have a podcast that comes out every week. So we've got more on these kinds of things. Nick, a couple things. I know there's a promo code for people listening because we want to make the pricing guides we offer a special price. And then if you're cool with it, if you want to add anything, and then we can open it up to Q&A to our live studio audience. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, this might need to be edited out of the podcast. Are we doing the Q&A as a part of the actual podcast when that goes out in a couple weeks, or are we going to kind of end it and then we can go into the Q&A? I think we should end it and go into the Q&A.
Sure. We did this last time, I think so. I don't remember what we decided. Blake, do you remember?
We decided to cut out the Q&A last time. So.
Okay.
All right. Blake, you figure out how to edit that. All right. Yes, we have a special promotion for anyone out there listening to this. If you go to our website, howtofilmweddings.com/store, and you pick up, we have 3 different pricing guides. We have kind of a nice looking, I can't remember the name of it, but we have like a luxury one, an adventure one, and then kind of a classic kind of looking one that's, more, I don't want to say traditional, but more.
You said modern.
Modern. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you so much. So we have 3. We have a luxury, an adventure, and a modern pricing guide. If you go to our website, howtofilmweddings.com/store, and you pick up one of those and use the promo code presentation, because we've been talking about presentation, use the promo code presentation. It will save you 25% off of any one of those pricing guides. So I think that's a good deal. So make sure that you go check that out. That will be available for 1 week, starting today for 1 week. It's promo code presentation for 25% off. John, as always, it has been great to hang out with you. Thank you for coming up with this idea. I think it was a good one. It was timely. It was something that all of us need to consider and work on, because I think that we like to think that our work speaks for itself when it does, but there's also so much more that goes into that. So thank you for coming up with this idea. It has been awesome to hang out with you. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time, we will see ya.
See ya.
Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films? Look no further. Our friends over at Vidflow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. Vidflow is pay per use with no large upfront costs or commitment, and you can cancel at any time. Vidflow offers a premium viewing experience for all of your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years of hosting and an experience for your couples that will blow them away. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/vidflow, where you can save 20% off a yearly business membership by using promo code HTFW20. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way. Give your couples something to rave about by using Vidflow.